Okay, I just want to show you real quick this new motorizing kit for the Wonder Junior Deluxe. And Wonder Mill Company has made this. It's pretty slick. I'll just show you. It just came out, and it includes a lot of different things, and they're all individual parts. They've made it really simple to motorize your Wonder Junior Deluxe by, first of all, there's this base assembly. Now you can do this yourself by just getting a piece of plywood or a board of some sort, but they've made it really simple, even with little directions on the front. They've cut your holes, 4 holes for your Wonder Junior Deluxe mill right there. On the back side, they put 4 holes for an electric motor, 1/2 horsepower, or even a larger motor you can put on the back there, and they've given instructions about where to connect the wires and how the motor should be turning. And these stickers can all be taken off after, but they've made it very simple. They've actually put it, they provide legs, little legs that you can put on the back, screw on the back, and these are all separate pieces that you can buy individually. They've got this, what's really awesome, and you can buy this separately, is the motorizing pulley. It's a geared motorizing pulley that mounts on the back of your Wonder Junior Deluxe, and then this little gear mounts onto the motor, and they made it so it can fit 2 different size motor shafts, either 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch, and it slides onto the shaft, and then these 2 little gears mesh together, and it provides really high torque. It's really slick. And you can buy their switch, which is a 16 amp breaker switch, or you can do this all. They even provide a bolt set for mounting it onto the board. Like I said, you can do this at home yourself, or you can get their kit, and it is awesome. So I'm going to go through the process of showing you how to do this in this little series of videos. So you can do this yourself if you want, and then show you how it works. I think all you do is turn the board over. You'll see there's 4 holes, all marked out for you, and each leg has a screw and a washer. So you can just put the screw into the hole, and if you can have a power screwdriver, great. If you'd have a manual screwdriver, that's fine too. And there you go, 4 legs. Okay, I just want to show you how to mount now the Wonder Junior mill to the mounting board, the motorizing kit board. So what you want to do is take your, first thing you want to do, if you already have your clamp mounted to your mill, is you want to just simply remove the 4 mounting screws from your clamp, and make sure, just for future sake, is to put, I put these screws back into the clamp, because they'll just, you don't want to lose them, basically. So put the screws back into the clamp and set this aside, because later it's very easy to take the Wonder Junior off of the mounting board and use it manually again. That's the beauty of this whole project, is it allows you to use your mill manually. Once you've motorized it, you can also use it manually. And if you buy the motorizing kit, or you have your own setup, either way, you simply take these 4 bolts that are provided, and the holes are very clearly marked on the board, and you drop 1 bolt through each hole, and they are just exactly the right size. And then on the bottom of the mill, you have 4 washers, and make sure you put the washers on, because you want it to give a very nice tight fit, and 4 nuts. And so on the bottom of the mill, you'll have your bolts sticking out, and you simply put a washer on the bottom and a bolt, a nut, and spin those finger tight to start with, and do all 4 of them. And you can see I've got, the kit comes with the long bolts. Actually, if you don't like those long bolts, you could get shorter ones, and then use your appropriate wrenches to tighten those up. So you're going to want to snug those down nice and tight. Basically, in the end, you have your mill mounted to the mounting board. Okay, now I want to show you how the process of mounting the motor, or putting your motor onto the mounting board. The great thing about this system is you can use a motor that you have at home. This is the 1/2 horsepower motor that the Wondermill company sells. It is a 1/2 horsepower with a 1/2 inch shaft, and the recommended size motor that is required to drive this is a 1/2 horsepower to drive the geared pulley and to slide the small pulley onto is a 1/2 horsepower, and they don't recommend anything smaller than that. So at least get a 1/2 horsepower. If you have one sitting around your house from an old blower fan or something else that would work, that's great. But those are the specifications, and then it needs to fit mounting. Usually they're pretty common, and they have 4 holes drilled out here. It's pretty simple, but that's the great thing. If you've got a motor you can use, that's awesome. So, but Wondermill does have one for sale, and you can get it as a separate part of their kit or use your own motor. But it's really simple to do. You have your bolt kit, and you simply take the motor and you set it up there, and you just line up the holes, and you're going to put 1 bolt with a washer for each one of those holes. And there are 8 washers, and the reason there's 8 is because you're going to want to put a washer on the bottom side as well, so that when you do make the final tightening process, you're going to put a washer on the bottom and tighten it down. So initially you're just going to put a nut and a washer on there, and you're going to just finger tighten it down, because part of the adjustment, we'll show that in the next video, is sliding this motor back and forth to get the exact adjustment tightness for the gear mesh. So that's as simple as it is. You're going to put those on finger tight and leave it loose enough, just loose enough so that you can slide that back and forth to get the adjustment. And then once you've got it, you're going to tighten that down in the proper position, and you're set to go. Okay, the next step I want to show you is how to attach the geared pulley to the motor, to the back of the Wonder Junior auger shaft, and also how to attach the drive pulley, small drive pulley, to the motor. And I'm going to show you, you'll notice that on the back of the large pulley there are 3 set screws, and these set screws, when they're turned in, will come in, and they'll come in far enough to set against the tapered portion of the auger shaft. And on the small pulley there's a set screw, and it actually comes with 2 set screws, and it depends what size motor shaft you have. It comes with a bushing, so if you have the standard shaft is a 3/8 shaft, and the smaller shaft is a 1/2 inch shaft. So if you have a motor with the smaller shaft, you'd use the longer set screw, key set screw, and if you have the larger shaft, you'd use the smaller set screw so that it goes in smaller. And I'll show you how to do that now. It's pretty simple. You simply take your pulley, and you want the pulley with the 3 set screws facing out, and then if you slide the pulley onto the shaft and loosen up your set screws, you'll notice that there's 3 tapers on the shaft. And if you slide the pulley on and then take your handle screw and put it in place, put it back in place with the washer, and if you put it all the way on and just snug it on just slightly, it'll give the pulley something to pull back against. And then if you line up your pulley, your set screws with the 3 tapers when you pull it back, and then simply finger tighten your 3 set screws into place onto the tapered edge, you'll find that it will set very nicely onto those 3 tapers. Now, when you do that, you want to make sure that the little set screw, the little set nuts are up all the way when you set those down. So you set those down, and then you tighten the set nuts on each one of those. You just snug them, don't over tighten them. Turn the set nut down, tighten the set nut, and there's 3 of those, so just make sure you do it on all of them. Snug it down, and then tighten the set nut. And you will find that that is securely held into place. And then again, just make sure that your handle pulley, that gives a very secure hold on the large pulley. Now you're going to take your small pulley and you're going to open it up all the way. You can take it out, but there's a key groove on the motor. I usually start it just a little bit. I found that just by starting it slightly into the groove, if I can do that. There we go. Come on. Maybe I got to look. It'll help. Put that nut back a little bit. Once you get it started, you can slide that pulley right into the groove by turning it back slightly. Then you want to slide that over right to there and tighten that. Just want to make sure those line up nice and smooth. And that's it. Pretty simple. Again, lock down the set pulley. And you're good. One of the things you want to make sure of when you're setting this assembly up, before you secure your motor, you want to make sure that this gear, the large gear and the small gear, mesh together right, but there's not too much play. So we know that the Wonder Junior is attached very firmly to the plate, and the pulley is. So our adjustment is going to be slightly here by moving the motor over just slightly before we tighten it down. So you can pull the motor over and then just jiggle it. You want it to make a nice, you don't want to hear this, the play in there. So pull the motor over till you hear that the play's gone, and then you're going to want to tighten down these bolts, the 4 bolts on your motor, until you get a nice snug fit. And then you'll know that your gear and your lower gear are meshing nicely. Now I'm just going to show you real quickly how to wire the switch up. It's real simple. You can use the switch that's available from the Wonder company, or you can get your own. Wonder provides a 16 amp switch breaker, and if you use theirs, basically it looks like this, and you can simply run 2 wires from it. And the easiest way is to run 2 wires off of it. I cut a little groove on the side of it to protect for the wires to come through. And then there's 2 holes. I pre-marked those. And simply attach those to the board. It is that simple. That's it. And you have on and off. One last thing we want to do is we want to put some grease on this gear and where this small gear mesh. And you can use just some good heavy-duty grease. I'm going to use a little. This is just some good bearing grease. And what you want to do is this. You want to just take some grease and you want to just rub it into these gears, grooves. And you don't need to put tons, but you want to work it around so that this gear, and spin the gear a little bit. We're going to wipe off this excess in just a minute. It'll just make that gear mesh a little quieter and wear better in the long run. We'll wipe off, like I said, we'll wipe off the excess, but just push it down into the gear teeth and rub it in. Turn the gear a little bit. It'll push it in around there. Rub that through. Spin it a few times and then spin it. Then take a paper towel and you can wipe off the excess because you don't need it. It doesn't have to be a ton on there. So you can just wipe off the excess so that you don't have a lot of grease spinning around. And then we can test it. And let's plug it in and see if it all works. Let's flip the switch. The final thing I want to show you is making your mill safe, totally safe. Now this I think is a big factor, and a lot of people, if you're making this at home and you're doing it yourself, you can build a cover out of wood, or you can buy the cover that the Wonder Mill company makes available. And this is their safety cover, and it is a gear safety cover. It's made out of all metal, has a nice opening in the front, and I'll show you how it fits. Comes with 4 screw holes, and it's very nice. It's a thick metal, it's all powder coated, and it is designed to perfectly sit on top of the box, and has 4 screws, 2 on each side, so that you can secure it nicely down, and it totally covers your gear and makes your mill completely enclosed so that no fingers or hair or anything else can get into the gear assembly and make your mill completely safe to use. You don't have to worry about anything. I would highly recommend that you get a motorized gear safety cover for your mill to make it safe in the after you put all this good work into your mill. So I've got some wheat in the hopper. We are going to test run this mill to make sure that it runs and see how it grinds. So let's give it a spin. I've set the adjustable coarseness fineness to a fine grind on wheat, and let's give it a spin. Let's fire it up. All right. Looks like about 4 cups a minute, somewhere about that, of nice, wow, that is some fine, soft, fine flour, stone ground. Awesome. Pretty exciting. If you want to motorize your Wonder Junior Deluxe and you want to make it simple, get the motorizing kit from the Wonder Mill company. All these parts are available at the Wonder Mill company from one of your Wonder Mill dealers, and you can motorize yours and still keep the hand option available if your power comes off. If power goes off, you simply unbolt the machine, reclamp it to your clamp, and you can do it by hand. Pretty sweet.